Hi everyone, this is Sarfraz from Aristotle Prep, and we are looking at question number 63 from the OG 13 Critical Reasoning chapter. This is a bold-faced question now. So remember, if it's a bold-faced question, you read the entire argument, and before we go to the options, we will try to come up with a prediction as to roughly what is the connection between the two bold parts, or what roles are they playing. So the stimulus says a prominent investor who holds a large stake in the Burton Tool Company has recently claimed that the company is mismanaged. So the first bold part is the claim of an investor. Citing as evidence the company's failure to slow production in response to a recent rise in its inventory of finished products. It is doubtful whether an investor's sniping at management can ever be anything other than counterproductive. So now this is the author of the argument talking to you, by the way. It is doubtful whether an investor's sniping at management can ever be anything other than counterproductive, but in this case it is clearly not justified. So the second bold part is basically the conclusion of the argument, which is disagreeing with the first bold part, which is the conclusion of the investor. It is true that an increased inventory of finished products often indicates that production is outstripping demand, but in Burton's case, it indicates no such thing. Rather, the increase in inventory is entirely attributable to products that have already been assigned to orders received from customers. So, after the second bold part, the author is basically providing an explanation of why the inventory levels are so high in this particular company, in the Burton Tool Company. So before going to the options, you have to make a prediction. As I said, the first bold part is the opinion of an investor. The second bold part is the conclusion of the argument, which is disagreeing with the first bold part. It's a pretty easy argument actually, pretty easy to understand, pretty easy to predict. So it shouldn't be very difficult to get to the answer. We will go through the options one by one, and you will notice that I will try not to read all the options completely. In options in which I realize the first part itself is wrong, I'm not going to bother with the second part. So A says, the first states the position that the argument as a whole opposes. That's absolutely correct. The second provides evidence to undermine the support for the position being opposed. Absolutely not. The second, in any case, does not provide any evidence. The second is actually a conclusion. So A goes out. B says, the first states the position that the argument opposes, correct. The second is evidence, again wrong. C says, and the reason the second part was wrong in B was because the second, as I said, is not evidence. It is actually a conclusion. It is the opinion. It is the final conclusion of the argument. C says, the first states the position that the argument as a whole opposes. The second states the conclusion of the argument as a whole. Perfect. That is the answer. That is the answer we had in mind. That is the perfect answer. I'll read the other two also now. D says, the first is evidence that has been used to support a position that the argument opposes. No, the first is the position that the argument opposes. So wrong. E says, the first is evidence that has been used to support a position. Again, the same thing as D, totally wrong. So you see, in a lot of the options, I did not even read the whole thing. I kept eliminating by reading the first part itself, like in D and E. So C gives us the perfect answer. On a difficulty scale of 1 to 5, this is not a difficult question. I would give it a 3 maybe. Have a nice day.